They dismissed him as just another maintenance worker, never suspecting the quiet black man they overlooked was the mastermind behind the cutting-edge security system protecting their entire company. But when the truth came to light, their world was turned upside down, and what happened next was unforgettable. James, a soft-spoken man in his early 30s, walked into the sleek glass and steel headquarters of Sentinel Systems, carrying a toolbox and an air of quiet determination. Dressed in a plain navy blue uniform embroidered with the company logo, he blended seamlessly into the background. To the bustling employees in tailored suits and polished shoes, he was just part of the maintenance staff, someone barely worth noticing. James had chosen this role deliberately. Undercover in his own company, he observed unnoticed. Dismissive glances and occasional smirks came his way, whispers questioning his skills or mocking the simplicity of his job. But none of them realized the truth. James was the brilliant architect behind Sentinel Systems' state-of-the-art security platform, a revolutionary system acclaimed for its ability to detect threats, predict breaches, and safeguard sensitive data. His innovation had propelled the company to multi-million-dollar success. Yet James wasn't seeking recognition or accolades. Instead, he wanted to understand how his creation performed in the real world. What he discovered and the revelations that followed changed everything. More than testing his system's functionality, James wanted to understand the human element, the flaws and vulnerabilities of the very people who depended on his creation every day. To do this, he went undercover, starting at the bottom rung of the corporate ladder. In his first few days, James faced subtle insults and condescension. Employees gave him curt instructions, assuming he lacked basic skills, or ignored him entirely. But James didn't react. Instead, he observed. He studied their behaviors, interactions, and how they engaged with the security system he had painstakingly designed. What he discovered was startling. Employees often dismissed minor alerts, bypassed protocols for convenience, and ignored flagged issues. But even more concerning, James noticed troubling patterns. Certain employees accessed restricted areas at unusual hours, bypassed security features, and displayed behavior that hinted at something much bigger. Unbeknownst to his co-workers, James launched a silent investigation. As the architect of Sentinel's security platform, he had embedded features few were aware of, including an advanced surveillance and behavior analysis module. With a few keystrokes, James activated these hidden capabilities, tracking suspicious activities and gathering evidence. Meanwhile, the office was abuzz with speculation. Some employees questioned his background, wondering why someone with his apparent skills would take on a maintenance job. Others gossiped openly, their whispers laced with suspicion and baseless accusations. Unfazed, James remained focused, quietly unraveling the secrets hidden within the company walls. But James didn't let the rumors distract him. He knew the truth would come out in time. One Monday morning, the usual hum of the office was replaced by an uneasy silence. Employees shuffled into the conference room, their faces marked with apprehension. At the front of the room stood Mr. Thompson, the director of operations, his expression grim. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a serious problem," he began. "Over the past few weeks, several high-value assets have gone missing. This threatens not only our operations, but our reputation. We need answers, and we need them now." A heavy silence fell over the room as his words sank in. Nervous glances darted around, each person silently wondering if they were under suspicion. Todd, a senior project manager with a reputation for arrogance, broke the tension. Leaning back in his chair with a smug grin, he gestured toward James. "Maybe we should start with the obvious," he said. "The new guy is always wandering around with tools. Who knows what he's really up to?" All eyes turned to James. The room crackled with tension. Yet James remained composed. Meeting Todd's gaze with calm resolve, he replied, "I only do what I'm asked. Nothing more, nothing less." Todd's accusation lingered, planting seeds of doubt. Whispers rippled through the room, and though no one openly sided with Todd, the suspicion was clear. James quietly left the meeting, his composure unbroken. Behind him, the gossip intensified. Every move he made, every trip to the storage room, every glance at a workstation was scrutinized. Despite the storm of speculation, James stayed focused. As the office spiraled into paranoia, his quiet investigation deepened. The data he gathered revealed a troubling truth. Employees who seemed beyond reproach were accessing restricted areas, manipulating logs, and tampering with equipment. It became evident to James that the thefts were an inside job, orchestrated by individuals who thought themselves untouchable. By the end of the week, he had uncovered the first pieces of a shocking puzzle that would change everything. The tension in the office reached its peak as Mr. Thompson called for another meeting, this time to review security footage. As the first clip played on the screen, the room fell silent. The grainy video showed Todd and two other senior employees sneaking into restricted areas, using stolen access cards to steal expensive equipment. Their actions were deliberate, brazen, and undeniable. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Todd, who had been lounging confidently moments earlier, turned pale. This can't be right," he stammered. "The footage must be fake." Mr. Thompson silenced him with a sharp glare. "The system doesn't lie," he said firmly. "The timestamps match the access logs perfectly." All eyes turned to James. Slowly he stood, commanding the room with his presence. "You all assumed I was just a handyman," he began, his voice calm but resolute. "You dismissed me without a second thought. But I built this system, every line of code, every safeguard, every failsafe. It's my work, and I designed it to protect companies from exactly this kind of betrayal." The room was awash with a mix of awe and embarrassment. Mr. Thompson quickly ordered security to escort Todd and his accomplices out of the building, promising legal action. Later that day, he called James into his office. "I owe you an apology," Mr. Thompson admitted, "and an explanation. Why didn't you tell us who you really were?" James offered a faint smile. "I wanted to see how the system performed under pressure, without anyone knowing I was involved. But even I didn't expect the test to reveal so much." Impressed by James's brilliance and integrity, Mr. Thompson offered him a leadership position, ensuring his talents would no longer be overlooked. In the weeks that followed, the company underwent a profound transformation. Employees reflected on their biases, realizing how deeply they had underestimated James. Now, in a senior role, James worked to foster a culture of fairness and transparency, ensuring no one else would endure the same experience. Through it all, James proved an undeniable truth. Real power lies not in titles, but in resilience, integrity, and skill. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Tale by Tristan and press the bell icon so you never miss an update.